What's up, Facebook world? What y'all doing today on this beautiful Saturday? What y'all out there doing?
They ain't doing nothing. Because they just scrolling on the book. They ain't doing nothing, so they got time to chime in because they ain't doing nothing.
Look closely at this couple. What you're about to witness is the unraveling of what everyone believed was the perfect partnership. Kiana Burns, 44 years old. Ronald Burns, 46. Atlanta's golden power couple. Entrepreneurs, motivational speakers, social media influencers with thousands of followers who admired their success, their love, their seemingly unshakable bond. But behind the carefully curated Instagram posts and the inspirational videos, a storm was brewing, one that would end in gunfire, tragedy, and a home forever marked by violence. In November, something inside Kiana snapped. She would shoot her husband dead in their own home, and then she too would be found lifeless. This is their story. The story of ambition, secrets, and a relationship that looked perfect from the outside until it all came crashing down in the most devastating way imaginable.
Hi, I'm Ronald Burns, and this is my lovely wife, Kiana Burns.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk to you about entrepreneurship and how it greatly benefited our life.
For those that don't know, my husband and myself, we've been entrepreneurs for the last 20 years.
To understand how this tragedy unfolded, we need to go back to where it all began, Atlanta, Georgia, a city pulsing with opportunity, a magnet for dreamers and hustlers alike. This is where Kiana and Ronald chose to build their empire. Atlanta isn't just a city, it's a symbol, home to corporate giants like Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, and CNN, a place where ambition thrives and fortunes are made. It's the kind of city that promises reinvention. And for Kiana and Ronald Burns, it was supposed to be the next chapter in their already impressive journey. But let's rewind even further. Back to St. Louis, Missouri. September 15th, 1977. That's when Kiana Burns was born. She grew up in the Riverview Gardens School District, a community that shaped her work ethic and her drive. After graduating from Riverview Gardens High School, Kiana didn't wait for opportunities, she created them. She earned her degree in cosmetology and launched her own business, Critique Designs, Beauty and Barber Salon. And this wasn't just some small neighborhood shop. No. Kiana poured 25 years of her life into that business, transforming it into one of the largest and most respected salons in the entire St. Louis area. She was relentless, determined, a visionary who built something from nothing. Kiana was also a mother to 3 children from a previous relationship. Those who knew her said she loved them fiercely, with every ounce of her being. Friends and family described her as nurturing, encouraging, a woman who uplifted others, especially other women. She was the kind of person people looked up to, a devoted wife, a loving mother, a friend you could count on, a businesswoman who commanded respect. And then there was Ronald Burns, born May 14th, 1975, also in St. Louis. Ronald's early life was marked by discipline and competition. He attended Vashon High School, where he played on the 1994 state championship basketball team. Basketball taught him how to fight, how to win, how to push through adversity. Those qualities would define him for the rest of his life. Ronald was ambitious, driven, and deeply committed to success. But more than that, he was a man of faith. At a young age, Ronald gave his life to Christ and became a minister, reaching out to everyone he encountered, sharing his message of hope and redemption. He believed in transformation, in second chances, in the power of faith to change lives. Eventually, Ronald transitioned from ministry into the world of finance. He became an insurance agent and financial advisor, founding his own company, Legacy Financial Solutions. His mission was clear: to help families achieve financial independence, to build generational wealth, to leave a legacy. And by all accounts, he was very good at it. Ronald had 4 children from a previous relationship, and when he met Kiana, everything seemed to align. 2 successful entrepreneurs, Two driven individuals. Two people with vision, ambition, and a shared dream. On September 13th, 2012, they merged their lives in marriage. They brought together their families, 8 children in total, and they combined their business minds to create something powerful. Together, they launched Six Figure Ambition, a company designed to mentor others, to teach them how to build wealth, how to create legacies. They became a brand, a movement, a couple that inspired thousands.
What's up, y'all? It's snowing outside. You know, still got to work. Still got to go make it happen. Get up because you want to, not because you have to. And that's where we've positioned ourselves in our life, that we get up because we want to, not necessarily because we have to. But the fight is never finished. The day is never done. We got to keep on fighting. We got to keep on pressing for what we want out of life and what we want to set our kids up for in the future.
But even as they preached about building empires and creating financial freedom, cracks were beginning to form beneath the surface. Cracks that no one could see. Not yet. Ronald's faith remained central to who he was. He continued to minister even as his business grew. He spoke about sacrifice, about perseverance, about pushing through the storms of life. Ministry and entrepreneurship weren't separate for Ronald. They were intertwined. He saw himself as someone called to serve, to help, to uplift. And so he transitioned fully into insurance and financial consulting, bringing the same passion he once had for ministry into this new arena. Legacy Financial Solutions wasn't just a company to him. It was a mission, a calling. He wanted to help families break free from financial struggle, to build something that could be passed down for generations. And he was successful. Very successful. Ronald built a strong clientele, earned respect in his industry, and became known as someone who genuinely cared about the people he served. He had 4 children from his previous marriage, and when he met Kiana, it felt like destiny. Here was a woman who matched his ambition, his drive, his hunger for more. Together, they were unstoppable. Or so it seemed. Their wedding in September 2012 marked the beginning of what looked like a power couple dynasty. They blended their families, 8 kids total, and they blended their businesses. They became mentors, motivational speakers, content creators. They built a following. People looked at them and saw what success looked like, what love looked like, what partnership looked like. Kiana and Ronald Burns were couple goals. They were living proof that 2 people could come together and build an empire.
Hi, I'm Ronald Burns, and this is my lovely wife, Kiana Burns.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk to you about entrepreneurship and how it greatly benefited our life.
For those that don't know, my husband and myself, we've been entrepreneurs for the last 20 years. And our mission is to bring you guys along to become successful entrepreneurs as well.
And in being in business over 20 years, guys, one of the fundamental things that we believe is that you should never spend all of your business time building somebody else's business. You should be in a position of leverage income where you make money that doesn't require your time. So one of the things that we're going to teach you is, what does the wealthy people understand that the poor people don't? They understand how to make money without their touch. We've been taught to go to school, get a great education, graduate, and get a good job. How about go to school, get an education if you choose to, and go own the business where your money doesn't require your touch, because you only have 24 hours in a day. And if you're spending all of your 24 hours building another man's business, you'll never own your own that you can pass down to your kids. We look forward to teaching.
They launched Six Figure Ambition with one clear purpose: to bring others along on the journey, to help families create wealth, to teach people how to escape the cycle of working for someone else and start building something they could own. They became a brand built on hope, empowerment, and financial literacy. After years of building their empire in St. Louis, Kiana and Ronald made a bold decision. They were moving to Atlanta. It was time to expand, time to grow Critique Designs into new markets, time to scale their Primerica insurance business and reach even more clients. Atlanta represented everything they'd been working toward: a fresh start, bigger opportunities, unlimited potential. From the outside, everything looked perfect, promising, exciting. But what no one knew was that behind the scenes, their marriage was on the verge of collapse. The pressure was mounting, the cracks were widening, and the move to Atlanta, instead of bringing them closer, would become the catalyst for something much darker.
And the story I'm about to share with you guys was the story from about, I don't know, let's say I guess about 7 months ago, something like that. 6, 7 months ago, when my wife and myself, we decided we was going to get a divorce, that we ain't want to be with each other no more. We was just done with each other. And so, and it took me back to 6 months ago when Kiana and I decided that we didn't want to be with each other no more, and some of the things that transpired. And so I remember like it was yesterday. We talking about, we just didn't want to do this no more. She was tired of me, I was tired of her. We was gonna go on about our business. And as we sat in the truck and we said, hey, you know what, if we're gonna get a divorce, let's be civil. We got kids, we got businesses. We said, well, let's just sit down and just talk about how this all gonna work out. Meaning from a business aspect. We didn't talk about why we should stay together. We love each other. None of that conversation was being had. We was done with each other. And so all we talked about, we said, okay, well, listen. We done with each other. We both came to that conclusion, but let's not impact everybody's life that's around us because we just decided we don't want to be together no more. Let's not do that. So I said, let's have a conversation. And we took out a piece of paper, we drew a line down the middle of it, and we talked about how the business was going to go, how we was going to divide the business. And she go her way and I go my way, but we didn't want to compromise and jeopardize everybody else's future because we was tripping. Let's not destroy our businesses. Let's not tear each other's name down. Let's not do none of that because there's kids, there's family members, there's moms and everything that we plan on retiring one day. And just because we decided we don't like each other no more, we're going to forfeit all that. We're going to mess up that for everybody. No, we got to figure out a way how we can work together, be divorced, go our separate ways. Know at some point we're going to get remarried to somebody else, but sustain what we promised the people that's dependent on us and keep that thing going. And when we got through having that conversation, we wrote everything down and we had it mapped out to a T how we was going to continue those businesses on an individual basis, but still reach that common goal and forget about everything else. And see, by the time the night had reached us, God had changed our heart. And I start thinking back to Jesus when he was on the cross. And Jesus was on the cross, and the same very people that he was dying for, he pierced them in the side, and he wanted to quit, and he wanted to give up. He didn't want to go further. He looked up to heaven, he told his father, he said, listen, if there's any other way, he said, if there's any other way, God, remove this cup from my head. In other words, let somebody else do this. It got to be a better way than me getting on this cross and dying for everybody. Said it got to be a different way that we can save the earth. He said, but nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. Nevertheless, not my will. In other words, so he went through trials, he went through hardship, and it didn't even feel good to Jesus going through the persecution and the tribulations. But he was focused on why he was put here on earth in the first place. And I think that's one of the biggest keys to our success is that in spite of what we go through, see, people think our life's just been rosy, and no, it ain't rosy now. We got a better marriage than we ever had, but our life ain't rosy. We got crap that's happening. If I get on here and tell you about all the crap that's going on in our life, you'll say, I feel sorry for them. But we don't want nobody to feel sorry for us.
Despite the turmoil brewing beneath the surface, Kiana continued to project an image of success and happiness on social media. She posted photos that looked like something out of a luxury magazine. A brand new Maserati Levante, a gift from her husband, shopping bags from Louis Vuitton overflowing from the trunk of her car. To her followers, Kiana Burns was living the dream. She had it all. The business, the family, the lifestyle, the love. But it was all a carefully constructed facade, and it was beginning to crumble.
Yeah, look what my husband did. This man outdid himself this time, baby. Check my new baby out. Check her out, y'all. That's that Levante. That's that Maserati truck. Y'all heard that engine? Yeah, he did this.
Just 2 months before the tragedy that would claim both their lives, Kiana posted a video that revealed a very different reality. She wasn't okay. The transition to Atlanta had been harder than she let on. The pressure was unbearable. And for the first time, she let her guard down and admitted publicly that she was struggling deeply.
I just felt the need to hop on here for just a moment, not long at all, and kind of just talk about you know, life changes. For those that don't know, about 5-6 months ago, my husband and myself, we moved to Atlanta to expand our business. But look, y'all, I'm telling you, if you don't stay prayed up and you don't keep faith, things can swivel in and take you out. I'm telling you, you guys, like, the transition, it wasn't necessarily a smooth one. It wasn't a hard one either, but it was something that we chose to do. And when you come to a new state or city and you're trying to learn people and you're trying to learn, you know, the things that they do, and that could be challenging. And coming here with our kids, just us and our kids, you know, it's just us, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got nobody. We can't drop the kids off at our kinfolk's house. We can't go, you know. So right now my husband is, you know, at a retreat. I stayed back due to because we have our children here. However, you all, I just want to talk on her because you have to be prepared for life changes, no matter what it is that's taking place. And I'm trying to encourage someone, because things in your life can change for the good or the bad overnight, literally. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't feel like you're a strong enough individual, some things may take you out. Social media, I just can't stand it. It gets on my nerves. People this, that. But I'm telling you, it's some strong sisters and brothers on social media that keep me going some days. Like, real talk. I have some very positive people that's on my timeline, and they help me through my gloomy days, because yes, I do have them. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, if I'm being totally, perfectly honest, I'm having one right now. And the reason I'm going live is because sometimes you got to reach out and tell people that you need love, you need support, you need care, you just need a hug. And honestly, you guys, I need that. I need that right now. I mentor so many women. I encourage so many women. I pump life and positivity in so many women. But sometimes I need that myself. And God knows right now, I need that, you all.
6 months after their move to Atlanta, on November 6th, Kiana was captured on video dancing with one of her daughters. She looked happy, carefree, like everything was finally okay. But that moment of joy would be the last time anyone saw her alive.
That's my baby. That's my baby. That's my baby. That's my baby. Go right.
Hours later, everything changed. The unthinkable happened. Authorities received a frantic 911 call on the evening of November 6th. It came from the couple's teenage daughter, calling from a different location, her voice shaking as she reported an emergency at her parents' home. Police rushed to the scene, but by the time they arrived, neighbors had already gathered outside, their faces pale with shock. They'd heard it, the gunshots, loud, unmistakable. Coming from inside the Burns residence, officers entered the home and immediately began their investigation. What they discovered sent shockwaves through the community. According to the preliminary findings, there had been a domestic dispute, an argument that spiraled out of control. In the midst of that confrontation, Kiana Burns shot her husband, Ronald, killing him. And then, in a tragic twist, she was found dead as well, somewhere inside the house. The exact circumstances of her death remain unclear, but the scene told a story of violence, desperation, and devastation. None of the children were present when it happened. They were spared from witnessing the horror firsthand. But the trauma of losing both parents in such a brutal, sudden way is something they'll carry for the rest of their lives. When the news broke, social media exploded. The couple who had been held up as relationship goals, as business icons, as symbols of success, gone, dead, and the questions came pouring in. What happened? Why? How could this be real? Speculation ran wild. Some claimed Kiana had discovered Ronald was cheating on her, that betrayal had pushed her over the edge. Others pointed to financial issues, suggesting the couple was drowning in debt and that Ronald had been involved in shady financial dealings, possibly even swindling Kiana out of her own money. People dug deep into Ronald's past and uncovered footage from an old episode of Divorce Court, where his ex-wife accused him of being a serial cheater and making reckless financial decisions that destroyed her credit. After that divorce, Ronald claimed he'd changed. He found God. He remarried. He built a new life. But whether or not he truly transformed, or whether his old patterns followed him into his marriage with Kiana, is something investigators are still trying to piece together. The truth is, we may never know exactly what happened that night. What drove Kiana to pull the trigger? What pushed their relationship past the point of no return? All we know is that 2 lives were lost. 8 children were left without parents, and a community was left reeling, struggling to reconcile the image they'd been sold with the horrific reality of what actually happened behind closed doors. Our deepest condolences go out to the friends and family of Kiana and Ronald Burns. May they rest in peace. And to everyone watching, please take care of yourselves, stay safe. And remember, things aren't always what they seem.